Okay, now we want to do some further programming of our player and enemy objects. First, we need to enable these objects to react in physics space. So in particular, we're going to wrap the player and enemy in a collider, and we're also going to apply a rigid body component. So starting with the collider, we go into our player. In the inspector, we click Add Component. We type Box Collider 2D, which we'll apply. Now you can see that the collider initially is too large. It's 32 by 32, so we're going to edit that collider and more or less size it so that it surrounds the character as best we can. It doesn't have to be perfect. That seems good. And we'll do the same thing to our enemy object. Add component, box collider, edit the collider, just wrap it in so that it's constrained to the boundaries of the actual sprite, visible sprite. I'm going to move this guy in a little more. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Okay, next we'll add the rigid body component. Let me just collapse box collider. Add component. Rigid body 2D. This will allow the object to interact with the physics engine, although we're not doing a lot of physics in this game. Mainly to allow collisions to work as we want. So body type, we're going to leave dynamic. Mass we'll leave as 1. Really, we're not going to be using gravity nor friction in this game, so we'll turn the drag components and gravity to 0. That all looks good. And we'll do the same thing to the enemy object. Add component, rigid body 2D. Leave the mass at 1. No gravity and no friction. 0. Okay, I'm going to save the game at this point. And since we're not going to be using gravity, we're also going to turn off gravity on a global basis. So physics 2D, we're going to set gravity on the y-axis to be 0 as well. Okay, next, another part of our configuration of player and enemy and other objects in the game as well will be to tag them so we can identify them more easily in the code. So player object, if we look in the inspector under tags, we'll see that there's already a default player tag. So we'll use that for the player. An enemy, there is no such predefined tag, so we will add the tag enemy. So under tags, we click plus, enemy, save. And now, when we go back to our enemy, we can find that enemy tag and apply it to the enemy. Okay, so next thing we want to do is create a new physics layer that we'll name blocking. And this blocking layer will include all game objects that should not be able to pass through one another. In particular, later on we'll be creating obstacles like rocks, for example. So we don't wish players to go through enemies or players or enemies to go through rocks. And to do that, first we need to create that layer. So under here, layers, edit layers. Under layers, the first user-defined layer 8, we will choose to make our blocking layer. So we'll give it the name blocking. And then we'll go back to player. Change its layer to blocking. And likewise, we'll program the enemy layer to also be a member of the blocking layer. Save that. Okay. A next step is another type of layer is what's so-called sorting layer. So the sorting layer controls the order of rendering. So we will go into layers here, edit layers, and you'll see it has the category sorting layers. We're just going to add one category for now, and we'll call it characters. And again, this is a layer that controls order of rendering. So once we add characters, we can go back to player and enemy and go into the sprite rendering component, and we should see characters in our sorting layer. So we'll set characters to be the sorting layer for the player, and likewise we'll set characters to be the sorting layer for the enemy as well. Save that. Okay, last step for this video is we're going to prefab our player and enemy. So first, under Assets, we'll select and create a folder, which we'll call Prefabbed, you guessed it. And then in our scene, we're just going to drag player object over into prefabs and enemy over into prefabs. And now that these are both been prefabbed, see that we can delete these at level. Oops, that duplicates them. We'll delete these since we've saved them as prefabs, and we'll probably bring them back to do more programming. But at this point, let's save, and that's it for this video.